we are going to discuss one more amplitude modulation technique, and that is a vestigial sideband technique. So far we have discussed a two technique. One is a DSBSC technique. In DSBSC technique, your carrier frequency Fc is going to be suppressed, and lower sideband frequency and upper sideband frequency is going to be transmitted. Correct? In case of the SSB technique, the carrier frequency as well as the one of the sideband frequency. One of the sideband is going to be suppressed, and only one of the sideband is transmitted. Correct? So in DSBSC, the carrier frequency is suppressed, but both the sideband, upper sideband and the lower sideband frequency is going to be transmitted. And in that case, if you calculate the power, then the power of this DSBSC is given as Na square by 2 into Pc. If you calculate the saving of the power, then this is approximately a 66% is there, because the 2/3 power is carried by the carrier wave, and the carrier wave is not going to be transmitted, means the 2/3 power is going to be saved, and that is the 66%. If we calculate the bandwidth of the system, then this bandwidth is a 2 FM. So here there is no change in the bandwidth. You require the larger bandwidth. Now what is the advantage of the SSB? That here the carrier frequency is transmitted, but carrier frequency is going to be suppressed. But we know that the information is with the LSB and the USB is the same. So instead of transmitting both the sideband frequency, if we can transmit only one of the sideband, then the bandwidth can be reduced. So here in this case, if you calculate the bandwidth, then the bandwidth is come out to be only FM. If we see the power of the SSB, then it is a Na squared by 4 into Pc, and the saving of the power that we have calculated, almost it is a 83%. So in SSB technique, the bandwidth is reduced and the saving of the power is also more. But here we have a practical difficulty in the SSB, that for a single sideband transmission, you require a very high quality of the filter, because you have to filter out the carrier frequency as well as a sideband frequency, which is a unwanted. And if you see the frequency spectrum for this, then somewhere here we have a carrier frequency, and then this is my upper sideband where is the information is there, and here we have a lower sideband where the information is here. Now when you are going to be filtered out either a LSB or a USB, then what should be the characteristics of this filter? Here this filter must have this characteristics, and whatever my lower cutoff frequency is there and the upper cutoff frequency is there, it should be a very sharp. Lower cutoff frequency and the upper cutoff frequency should be very sharp, so that the frequency component of the lower sideband is not going to be transmitted. That is the ideal case. But practically, if you see that we don't have this kind of a sharp cutoff frequency. Here, if you see the frequency response of a practical filter, then it will be like this. So here, whatever wanted frequency are there. This wanted frequency is also going to be eliminated. So whatever the information in my upper segment is there, so the frequency which is very low, that is also going to be eliminated. Or if you take if you do not have a F1 exactly to F3, but then what will happen? The some portion of the lower segment frequency is also going to be added with your upper segment. And here it is practically very difficult to design this kind of the filter. And therefore we have to go for another technique where the one segment frequency, this upper segment frequency is completely transmitted, and the some portion of this lower segment frequency will be also transmitted at the same time. Means the vestigial or the fraction of this lower segment frequency, is also transmitted. So that is known as a vestigial sideband technique. So in vestigial sideband technique, it is not necessary that you have to transmit the upper segment fully and the fraction of the LSB. You can also have a fully transmission of a lower segment frequency and the fraction of the upper segment frequency. So one of the segment is my wanted frequency and the other segment is my unwanted frequency, and we are taking the fraction of a unwanted segment frequency. So this is due to this, what will happen? That the designing of the filter is going to be simplified, and the complexity of the circuit for the transmission as well as for the receiver also it is going to be reduced. So therefore we are going for a vestigial segment. No doubt in a vestigial segment the bandwidth will be slightly higher than the FM, and the saving of the power will be slightly less than the 83%. But at the same time we have advantage for a designing of the circuit. Complexity of the filter circuit is going to be reduced. So let us see what is the vestigial segment technique. Now, the expression for the DSVAC signal is given as NAVC by 2 into cos omega c minus omega n into t minus NAVC by 2 cos omega c plus omega n into t. Means here the lower segment frequency as well as the upper segment frequency both are going to be transmitted, fully transmitted, only the carrier is going to be suppressed. In a vestigial segment, remember, if I want to write the expression for a vestigial segment, then I can write as VSB equal to, suppose I am going to transmit a completely fully a lower segment, then it is written as NAVC by 2 into cos omega c minus omega n t, and we are transmitting the fraction of the upper segment. So plus the fraction of the upper segment means we can write in this way cos omega c plus omega n into t. Fraction means you can have a fraction of a 10%, 20%, 30% according to your requirement. You can send this information. Or we can also write the same expression in this manner Then suppose we are transmitting a fraction of a lower sideband. Then this is f into NABC by 2 cos omega c minus omega n into t plus we are transmitting a complete upper sideband frequency, then it is NABC by 2 cos omega c plus omega n into t. So the VSB signal this is a VSB signal. So VSB signal mathematically we can represent in this way. Now if you see the frequency spectrum, then the frequency spectrum you can represent in this way. Suppose we have a carrier frequency Fc that is somewhere here and it is suppressed, so you have to represent with the dot. And suppose you are going to transmit a lower sideband frequency completely, then we can draw a line arrow here which is representing a Fc plus Fn. And the fraction of this sideband, upper sideband. So here we will not draw a complete arrow, but it is represented by a small line, and that is representing Fc minus Fn. Means that is you can say Fp, vestigial component of frequency. So Fp is this, you can represent in this way. So this is if we have the lower sideband frequency transmission. But if we have a upper sideband frequency transmission, then in that case we can draw the frequency spectrum in this way. This is my Fc. The upper sideband frequency is going to be completely transmitted, so Fc plus Fm will be here, and the residual component of this a lower sideband is there, so Fc minus Fm, or you can say it is Fv. Correct? So in this way you can represent the frequency spectrum for a vestigial sideband technique. Now practically if we see how here I have considered only a one modulating frequency, but we know that our information consists of a so many frequency components. And for that if you see what is the frequency spectrum, then you can draw in this way. Correct? This is my carrier frequency Fc is there, and let us say our information is like this. This is my modulating frequency, information is there. And suppose we are transmitting a upper sideband frequency, then here the USB you can represent in this way. And this is a Fc plus Fm will be there. Correct? So your information is shifted between Fc and Fc plus Fm. Now if we draw a lower sideband, then here the lower sideband is going to be produced in this way. But we are taking a fraction of the lower sideband. So either 10%, 20% or 30% will be there. Then that frequency will be somewhere here. And this is a Fv plus Fc will be there. Sorry, Fv minus Fc Remember. So, in a transmission, what will happen? This upper sideband is completely transmitted, plus the some portion of the lower sideband is also transmitted. So, this frequency is Fc minus Fv, and this is Fc plus Fv. So, what is the bandwidth? Here in this case, if you calculate the bandwidth, then the bandwidth is comes out to be a maximum frequency, that is Fc plus Fn minus lower cutoff frequency, minimum frequency Fc minus Fv, and therefore we have Fn plus Fv. So here the bandwidth is not a Fn, but the some fraction or the vestigial component frequency is going to be added with this, and we can say the bandwidth of the vestigial sideband is slightly higher than the bandwidth of a SSB system. Same way also you can calculate that if we have here, that is the Fc, and suppose we are completely transmitting a lower sideband frequency and some portion of the upper sideband frequency is there. So here the what is the bandwidth? My filter will be like this. This portion of the upper sideband frequency is also transmitted. So this is a frequency Fc minus Fm will be there, and this will be a frequency Fc plus Fv will be there. And if you calculate the bandwidth again, then this will come out to be a maximum frequency Fc plus Fv minus minimum frequency is Fc minus Fn. So this bandwidth is Fc plus Fv. So here either we transmit a upper sideband or we transmit a lower sideband. In that case, the bandwidth is going to be slightly higher than, sorry, not this is the Fc is going to be cancelled. Here this is going to be Fn. Fn plus Fv. So either we transmit a lower sideband or the upper sideband frequency, but in both the cases, the bandwidth is slightly higher than the Fn, and that is slightly higher than your SSB technique. Now let us see how we can calculate the power. Power radiation. Correct? So the power of a DSBSC, remember, DSBSC is given as, here in DSBSC we transmit both the sideband frequency. So the power of the LSB will be there and the power of the USB will be there. And we know that the power of the LSB is given by Ma square by 4 into PC. Same way the power of the USB is also given by Ma square by 4 into PC. Correct? Now if I want to write if you want to write a power of a VSB technique, then the power of VSB is written as, means suppose we are transmitting a lower sideband frequency completely, so that power will be a Ma square by 4 into PC will be there. But now we are transmitting a fraction of the upper sideband, then the fraction of the power of the upper segment is going to be transmitted. So here we write the fraction of this, that is NA square by 4 into PC. So here this fraction you can take 10%, 20%, and accordingly you can calculate the power of a vestigial sideband technique. So if I will take NA is equal to 1, then the power of the VSB is equal to a PC by 4 plus a fraction of this, a PC by 4 will be there. It means PC by 4 is representing what? A 25%. Plus something is there. That is a 10%, 20% of a 20. So whatever the power will be here, that is a 25%, between the 25% to a 50%. Here in case of the SSB, remember that the power of the SSB wave was a 25% of your carrier wave. But now in this case, exactly you cannot say that it is a 25% or it is a 30%, 35%. But that power depends on how much fraction you are transmitting of a unwanted sideband. And that's why this power of the VSB signal will be between the 25% to a 50%. And this is slightly higher than your SSB signal. Okay? So in this way we can calculate the power. Now what is the use of this vestigial sideband? Remember, so here it is widely used in a television. This technique is used in television. In television, we know that we are transmitting the audio information as well as the video information. But audio, for a audio signal, for audio, the frequency is from a 20 Hz to a 20 kilohertz. Correct? So you don't require too much large bandwidth. If it is a 100 kilohertz bandwidth, then it is sufficient. But when we are talking about the video signal, then it is from 0 to 5 megahertz approximately. Exactly it is a 4.2 to 4.8 is there. So the video signal, that frequency range is from 0 to 5 megahertz. Now if you transmit this video signal, then what is the required bandwidth? Required bandwidth will be a, so if I am using a AM technique or if I am using a DSVSC technique, then in that case the bandwidth will be a 2 FM and it is 2 into 5 megahertz. So you require a 10 megahertz bandwidth. Remember, if we transmit a video signal of a 0 to 5 megahertz, then in DSVSC technique we require a very large bandwidth, and that is a 10 megahertz. So if the bandwidth is large, then the number of the channel is going to reduce. So here in a VSB technique, we are not completely transmitting both the sideband, but the one of the sideband completely and the fraction of the other sideband. So we can reduce the bandwidth of the system. Here if you see, try to understand that suppose my video signal is from 0 to 5 megahertz. Here my video information is there. So when it is going to be modulated, then somewhere here we have a carrier frequency, and that carrier frequency means it is known as a picture carrier frequency. Remember, this is known as a picture carrier, because it is carrying the video information, picture information is there. Now this modulating signal of a video is going to produce a two sideband, and one of the sideband is this, like this. So what will happen? Here, if we consider the Fc as 0, then this is going to be a 5 megahertz. And also it is going to produce a lower sideband. So this is also a 5 megahertz. Means Fc minus 5 megahertz, and this is a Fc plus 5 megahertz. So here we have a upper sideband and this is my lower sideband. So if you look at this, then in this case the bandwidth is going to be a 10 megahertz, and this is very large. And we know that whatever the picture information is in the upper sideband, same information is in the lower sideband. So how we can reduce this bandwidth? So we can use a VSB technique. So in a television, the upper sideband is completely transmitted. Remember, and some portion of a lower sideband is also transmitted. So actually is this, and here actually if we consider this a 0, then this is round about a 1.25 megahertz. Here your carrier frequency will be at the position of a 1.25 megahertz, and that whatever the 5 megahertz maximum frequency is there, it is going to be shifted to 625 megahertz. So here the upper sideband is completely transmitted, and the fraction of the lower sideband is also transmitted. How much? Lower sideband frequency? That is okay, up to a 1.25 megahertz. So now if you look at this bandwidth comes out to be a 6.25 megahertz. Remember, this is a 6.25 megahertz. And then in a television, with the picture carrier frequency, the sound carrier frequency is also transmitted. So somewhere here the sound carrier frequency is there, and then after we have a guard band. Remember, so after the guard band, the another channel is going to be there. So this is known as a guard band. Why we require the guard band? Because there should not be any interference between the two channels. So in this guard band, there will not be any kind of a transmission. Always the guard band is required in a TV transmission. So ultimately, if we consider the sound carrier frequency and the guard band, then this bandwidth will comes out to be a 7 megahertz. Remember. So initially you try to understand that you require the 10 megahertz, plus we have to add a sound carrier frequency plus guard band, then this bandwidth will go up to a 11 megahertz. Now instead of that, your requirement for this channel or the bandwidth is only a 7 megahertz. So that is the advantage of the vestigial sideband, that we can reduce the bandwidth. And here, by using the vestigial sideband frequency means a filter, it is easy to design. There is no complexity, because we don't require a very sharp cutoff frequency. Correct? So, and that's why this technique is used in a television. So, this is an application of a vestigial sideband technique. Now, let us see an example. Okay, so what is happen? A 400 watt carrier is amplitude modulated to a depth of a 100% modulation. Okay, so the carrier power is 400 watt, modulation index is 100%. Calculate the total power in case of the AM and the VSB technique. So what is the power if we have a amplitude modulation and if we have a VSB technique? Correct? If 20% of the one sideband is transmitted along with the one tape, means that 20% of this other sideband is transmitted. So the fraction we can say it is a 20%. Right? So let us say calculate this. What is my AM power of the AM wave? So it is given as PC into 1 plus MA square by 2, and PC is a 400 into 1 plus 1 by 2, and this will comes up to be a 600 watt. Correct? Now the power of the VSB. Power of the VSB means we have to calculate the power of a one of the sideband frequency and the 20% of the other sideband frequency. So PVSB is written as MA square by 4 into PC, that is the power of a one of the sideband frequency, and the fraction of a other sideband frequency MA square by 4 into PC. So this is a 1 by 4 into a PC is 400, correct? Plus a 20% of this 1 by 4 into a 400, correct? So PVSB will be equal to 100 plus 20, this will be also 100, and the 20% of this, so 100 plus 20, and that is equal to a 120 watt. Okay, then how much power saving is achieved for the VSB? So here it will take a PAM minus PVSB, means we compare to the amplitude modulation. It is a 600 watt minus 120 watt, and this is a 480 watt. So this much amount of the power is going to be saved. Then so compare to AM and then compare to DSBSC. So we have to calculate what is the power of the DSBSC. So that is DSBSC is MA square by 2 into PC, and if you calculate this, then this will come out to be 1 by 2, and what is the PC? It is a 400. So this is the 200 watt. Power of the DSBSC is 200 watt. So how much saving is there? So the PDSBSC minus PVSB, so 200 minus, what is the PVSB? PVSB we have calculated, that is a 120. So 120, and this is going to be a 80 watt. Then how much more power is required compared to SSB? So we have to calculate the power for the SSB also. So the power of SSB is given as NA square by 4 into PC, and this is 1 by 4. PC is given as a 400, and this is a 100 watt. The power of the SSB is 100 watt. But what is your question? how much more power is required compared to SSB. So in a VSB we require the power of 120. SSB require a 100 watt. So the extra power required is a 120 minus 100. So power compared to SSB is 120 minus 100. So the 20 watt extra power is required. Okay. Okay. So friends, here the first unit of the syllabus is going to be over, and in this unit we have discussed about the amplitude modulation. The next unit of the syllabus is a angle modulation, or you can say it is a frequency modulation. So in the next lecture we will discuss about what is the frequency modulation.